All right, welcome back, everybody. The Off the Clock Show. You're joined today by myself, Shawn from OrbisX, and also we have Marty Hill from the Pints and Polishing podcast, which drops some serious gems, as well as hyperClean car care products. And Marty, where can they find you?
You can find me and Nick at most platforms at hyperClean Store. Best way to get in touch, though, go to our hyperClean Specialist Facebook group or send us a text 918-800-1188.
Right on. And if you want to join that group, just post below, mention Cool Club, and you'll get the link to jump right in. And what are we sipping on today?
All right. So I had this vision this past weekend of being here and trying to, as I continue to mix up random drinks with rum.
Yeah.
So we made a margarita, a rum-arita this weekend.
Oh, okay.
But I mixed in fresh pineapple and blended it up and used Bacardi instead of tequila. And man, it was fascinating. It was Sunday afternoon. Yeah. Perfect. Right. Like, it's a great Sunday drink. So I was sitting there and I go, all right, I'm gonna have to take some Bacardi up to the warehouse and have that 100%. For Tuesday. So I can mix in some Bacardi with, it's just a LaCroix, trying to figure out random stuff to mix in with it. So nice. I used to drink a lot of, do you ever drink juice nectars?
No, never actually.
Never drank juice nectar? Yeah. I used to drink a lot of juice nectar, and I think I'm going to grab some of those and bring them up and start playing around with different nectars again. That's fun with wicked. Rum.
You're going to have to make a little recipe book there. Yeah.
Oh, no, there's no recipe, man. You just kind of pour some in and kind of sip on it. That's the best way to go.
Grandpa's recipe.
Yeah, Grandpa's recipe.
I love it.
Hey, I made some curry this weekend. That was fun.
Shit. Oh, nice. First time? Or?
It was, wait, what'd you say?
Was it your first time doing it or?
No. But I just hadn't been over to, we've got it's called Nam Hai. It's a Asian market. I just hadn't been there in a long time. Okay, and the girlfriend wanted to get some shrimp and some fish and some stuff from there, or whatever. So yeah, when we were there, I was like, oh hell, I'm getting some curry. So some coconut, not the milk. You got to get the cream, and then some curry. It's a paste. It's a curry paste.
Okay,
yeah, it's good. You're a curry fan, right?
Yeah. So
I thought sometimes.
So. Yeah, it depends. Yeah. Like we'll do a mix. My wife's not a huge fan of curry, so like it depends. If I'm cooking, it'll be like once in a while kind of thing. But me love like curry goat, things like that. Curry chicken too. But my wife, she prefers like oxtail, so she'll make that.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. But and this weekend actually, I'm gonna be making some conch fritters, which is gonna be nice. Yeah. So the seashell you listen to, you hear the ocean and all that stuff. So inside there's actually meat. Not in those shells, but when it's in the ocean, and you pull that out, and then you can boil it. I usually double boil and then chop it up little pieces, bread, the whole thing, everything, and then fry it up. Oh,
what's double boil? You like leave it in longer, or you swap out the water for fresh water?
Swap out the water, because they're pretty salty and also pretty fishy. You got to think they're scavengers, right? So they eat like everything on the bottom of the ocean, and so it's but oh man, delicious. Like the fritters, oof, man. Make that with a little bit of hot sauce. Oh my gosh, it's amazing. It's like the chicken wings of the sea. Basically, yeah. But so I'm making that this weekend for a buddy who he's never had it before, but his family's from the Caribbean. So I was like, man, you can't like be a descendant of the Caribbean and not have had that, because it's a very popular dish down there. But yeah. So and today I'm actually drinking a pink elephant. So I got it mixed in my OrbisX bottle though. So it's vodka and grenadine. That's it. Keep it simple. Little ice. The ice is melted now, but yeah. So it's I don't know.
Vodka and grenadine, and what'd you call it?
So a pink elephant, and So part of the reason for that is because of the little situation that we were going to talk about. Well, little situation, World War III. But yeah, there's some crazy stuff going on in the world right now.
You think it will? Like, you think it'll go? Is it the start that'll eventually be World War III? You think so?
I don't know if it'll spread as far, but I definitely think it's going to escalate 100%. Because I think that there's kind of a tipping point for everything, and I think that we kind of tipped that point a little bit. I mean, I don't know how much of what I'm seeing on the news or hearing on the news is fact or not. You know what I mean?
It's so hard to know.
It is.
And the thing is it's not our battle, right? I mean, typically I think we would see a lot more, and we would see all the stuff that we were doing, right? As we, invaded, in the Gulf and all the stuff we were trying to do there to help rescue people and all that we've done. There's always a lot of stuff that gets sent back to us. But right now, I mean, it's hard to find really information. You definitely don't get any videos unless you're following the people on social. That's interesting.
And so to find out the truth, like what's actually happening, it's hard unless you're like on the ground or something.
I think the craziest for me is I haven't understood, not the crazy. I mean, I'm fascinated with the whole thing. I've talked about it the other day on one of our podcasts. It was like, I go every night and just try and read up on what's happened. Like what's
going on. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I like the chess moves, the pieces of war of where, where's he sending his people? How's he doing it? They've run into problems. How do you run out of diesel? That's interesting. How does Russia not, I don't know. It almost seems like they're playing a game, right? They're just sending a little bit, just kind of testing the waters. Hey, we're just going to, but they've got a bunch of people still waiting to come in. I mean, it's not the full scale yet.
No, 100%. No. Yeah.
And then what's the new vacuum bomb things or something? Those are fucking cool.
Yeah.
I mean, wild. Don't get me wrong. Like I feel for people. Yeah. Apologies if cool meant that I didn't mean it that way.
In terms of technology, it's
technology and what they do. They're fucking powerful.
It's true. Yeah. It's funny how we're so good at finding new ways to kill each other. It's crazy. Well, but I have mixed emotions about everything. Cause I don't think that war is ever good, but at the same time, sometimes you got to have a brawl to settle some differences and then have a beer after, you know what I mean? So I don't know.
Putin's not after a beer, man. He said, we're coming in to kill you. I think they even said that this isn't a regime change. This is we're coming in to take it over.
Yeah. See, one thing I do know is that, from what I've seen, because I watched Russian news as well and stuff. And so, that you got to pick apart, what's what. But what I do know is that sometimes someone seems like the aggressor, but really they were kind of backed into a corner and they've been listen, I don't want this kind of thing. And then you push. So I don't know, man.
That's what they keep. You're right. I've read that too, that's what the Russian media is putting out, that it's Russia is doing it almost as defense measures. They've got to go in and do it and to save.
He's like, you guys come and you do this and that close to my borders. So we do some, stuff on our border to prep ourselves just in case you step over. And it's kind of, I get it, man. If someone parks a little too close to your car and you think they're going to hit your car with the door, you almost get a little bit ready for an argument, but it hasn't even happened yet, and you're like, let me just prep myself, take off my jewelry, whatever.
But I just think that was also his excuse. That's his excuse of reason why it forced you guys forced my hand to invade your country.
Yeah, I didn't want to do this.
I didn't want to do.
Playbook was it's true. Yeah, and that's the thing is we'll never fully know because the media, I don't trust very much of what I hear or see in the media at all. It's they call it scripts for a reason, read from the script. And so I think. But you got to kind of look at it all and try and piece it together yourself and see what makes sense,
I'm fascinated by who's helped and how they've helped and who's sending what and cutting off, people's finances and trying to combat Russia in some different ways. We're not going to send arms or we're not going to send people or we're not going to do this, but, we'll cut off their money, which is, interesting plays or, hey, you can't fly now. And was it FIFA said that, the Russians couldn't come play? I mean, it's interesting, all the different things.
We had a plane that flew over Canada because we have a no fly ban right now on Russian planes in our airspace. And there was a plane, civilian plane, but it was Russian owned, flew by here. And it's a huge hoopla on the news and everything right now. I don't know if there's going to be some sort of retaliation or if they're seizing the plane. I have no clue, but it was definitely a big issue. And I think though that this is just pouring gasoline on fire, man. If you take away someone's options for anything, what do they have left? And I don't know. So, I mean, I definitely think it has serious potential to go to an escalated warfare kind of thing.
Let's say they bring in these other things. They start wiping out the Ukrainian army and they take it over, right?
Yeah.
Do they really stop there?
Sometimes when you get the ball rolling, it's good.
Why wouldn't they just start going back and taking over the other countries that used to belong to, I mean, I think Putin, in my opinion, that's what he's going to do next. He's just going to continue moving, because if nobody's really come against him,
then he's like, this is mine now. So
you
better practice your Russian.
Yeah, better practice your Russian, no doubt.
Jeez, yeah, it is terrifying. But
Darth Vader and the dark side is back again. There's no doubt. As a kid, man, like there was a lot of comparisons between Russia and and the dark side, no doubt.
Yeah, and that's it's going to be interesting. I know one thing is happening. So like I have a print shop as well, and we're getting a lot of orders right now, or order requests. We're staying out of it and just told people we're at capacity right now, can't handle it because I don't want to get involved. But we're getting a lot of people submitting artwork. They want stickers and stuff like that printed for their cars. Some of them are nice, like they have both the flags and then like a heart, stuff like that. That's not bad. Other ones have like the flag and then a middle finger and stuff like that. And the main reason not to, like, listen, you want to print whatever, but at the same time, that could really, like, that could put someone's life in jeopardy, really. Like, there's a lot of tension here. We have 1 million Ukrainians that live here. We have almost an equal amount of Russians. Like, there's a lot of communities that, it's community. Hey.
So yeah, that's an interesting thought is, do the Ukrainians and Russians in the other parts of the world begin fighting against each other?
It happens. It's already happening here in a lot of cities. There's a lot of things going on. Yeah. Like mostly like property damage, things like that, but there's stuff going on. Same thing happened though before. Like anytime there's issues other places in the world, the communities, mainly our larger cities, they're not like our country's mixed up, and everyone, brags about how it's a big like melange of people, but the cities, there's a lot of diasporas that are very close knit. Like there's a whole like a Haitian community, and if you go, you'll just find like mostly Haitians that live there, so on and so forth. And then they form these boroughs, and it's all in the city. So when there's a problem or tension overseas, and a lot of them, maybe they just got here, they have cousins here or something, it's things get tense, So like we've had some like riots and stuff. The police are pretty good at like squashing things down, but definitely like broken windows in cars and stuff, people getting like dragged out of apartments and stuff. It's things happen.
So for us on a local,
pretty peaceful.
On a local front, my little area, and then through what we call South Tulsa, Jinx, where we're at in Oklahoma, Jinx is a little suburb, and the amount of Burmese people that have moved in over the past 10 years. The high school and the school system of Jinx had to get Burmese translators because so many Burmese people moved into our area. I mean, my cul-de-sac in my neighborhood, I mean, we're about the only, there's a couple and a handful of us, but otherwise it's completely all Burmese. I mean, my neighbor's Burmese. I love it. They have some of the best food. They bring it over. Amazing. They have these big parties. They got like 6 kids. Like every year they have another kid. And so, I mean, I got regular birthday parties where I'm like, bring that over, like the food's amazing.
Man, that's awesome though. Yeah. And I know what you mean. It's similar here. Like we just brought in an influx of Syrians, right? And so one of my daughter's schools, there's like 400 students, small school. It's for younger kids. And I think it's something like 80% now Syrian. So they had to change out the whole like staff at the front to get people in that could translate, things like that. The announcements are different now. So they do the announcements in 3 languages now, which is pretty crazy. And one of the high schools, actually, they have so many people there. Like it's a lot of people Arab descent. And so when they call people down to the office, they include their birthday as well. Because they can't just call, like in Muhammad, so-and-so come down to the office. They have to put his, like born.
There's 500 Muhammads. Yeah,
exactly. So they throw the birth date at the end, and then that's how they get the right kid to come down.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, it's nuts. Cool. Yeah, but it'll be interesting to see how things pan out, But switching gears into a topic. So I got someone that asked in the group, he's doing everything right for his business, struggling a little bit. So in a way, it's his own little war that he's dealing with. And he's doing everything on paper that you would think, okay, this is the recipe for success, you know? So he's got like, he's running ads. He's spending $6K, he said, right now on ads between Google, Facebook. He's doing things on like TikTok, YouTube, trying all kinds of stuff. He's had success in the past with it. He's got a really good shop. He, you know, upgraded the floors. He's a beautiful showroom. Like he's doing everything on paper you would think is right, but yet he's still finding it a little difficult. He's in California. He said the market there is terrible. He said every week there's a new detailer that pops up and they're just taking over. And so I know I did the same thing. I just kind of shrugged it.
Everybody always says that. Everybody always says
exactly. Yeah. Like they're always going to pop up. And at the same time, there's always the guy that decides he wants to wash his own car, but eventually he runs out of time. And then, you know, you got to sell him on the convenience. So for people like that, I figured maybe we could have a little discussion, deep dive into kind of what, you know, our thoughts and suggestions might be as to what someone who's doing everything right could do.
I wish the guy would have come on. I think that'd have been super cool, right? You know, so anybody else that's experiencing and that they fill out the forms and they give in the proper information, right? They get to have a really good conversation direct with you and I. Yeah. I would have asked him, you know, where were you at the past couple of years on the 6K? Is that a month? I mean, $6,000 a month in advertisement is that's
should
a
be generating
massive
some results.
Yeah. I mean, you've got to be making a lot of money previously to be investing $6,000 a month. Yeah. Because if you're investing $6,000 and you're getting a return of $8,000, well, that ain't worth it. Like,
yeah, no,
you know, like,
it ain't worth it. There.
Yeah. So, you know, I would have first asked him, you know, what were the past years like? And when I looked at his page, I could see, you know, there were certain things that he liked to mention that probably over the past had meant a lot because those brands had spent probably hundreds of thousands in his area to boost that brand's name, which made sense why he would have put them out there as we're a so-and-so installer, right? Like,
and now that everybody else is there, a so-and-so installer, it's not a competitive edge. Yeah.
And now the market has shifted, right? Like the other part that we were going to talk about, which, you know, we can just intermingle it all together is there's that E word, economy. There's that downshift that other people are feeling all around because, well, whether it's Corona, whether it's the war, whether it's inflation, whether it's the car market, whatever it is, it's all created what we've said and what I think you and I even talked about over in the Pints of Polishing podcast, but we've been saying it for a while. Like, be ready.
It's coming.
It's been amazing. It's been amazing. And 2020, what shouldn't have happened. So many other, you know, industries had massive downfalls, but we did really well because we were cleaning stuff and people needed stuff to be cleaned. 2021 didn't seem like it was as great for everybody that they led on, and especially the end of 2021. And it's like, okay, now it's hit. Like people are really starting to feel it. You might have been doing something so great the past years, but if you just kept trying to do the same thing over and over, well,
eventually it's not going to work. Like
you gotta look outside of what all's going on in the overall market. Like, if the market's great, you can do a lot of crazy shit, and it worked.
Yeah, exactly.
You can pay $6,000 and you can pay these other people. You can pay outrageous prices for a coating because they're going to put, you know, great, you know, marketing in your area, apparently.
Yeah, exactly.
But then when the money overall shifts, well, you can't keep doing that. You got to make adjustments.
100%. And I think that a lot of people are feeling that pressure that's coming from things changing. You know, I think when people, like, when things are going good, they don't plan for their business. And then when things are bad, they try to rapidly plan.
Right. But let's toss this back and forth, right? Because if you just paid somebody to do all your marketing, then you didn't really learn how to market.
True. And you're going to forever be on the hook for that person. And should that person, their methods not work, or they go out of business, or they stop taking new clients, or whatever the case may be, basically you've set yourself up now where you're reliant on that person's efforts.
And or they also might not have a heartbeat for your local area.
That's true. Yeah, that's very true. Because as your community's changing, you know, community, you know, they're going to keep going the way that they were going before.
All right. So the whole joke, since Aaron, you know, said that, you know, hey, you learned that from
Marty,
you know, like, so the whole thing inside the Pints of Polish podcast, the reason why we coined that phrase and what we do with it is it's actually a drinking game. So every time somebody says the word community,
take a drink.
You're supposed to have a drink, right? Like,
yeah.
That's our drinking game, but it's also, you know, it is also our phrase for, you know, building together camaraderie and working together with people. And, you know, I mean,
you avoided saying it again.
Yeah, but it is also, I mean, I don't say that enough because, you know, now as more and more people have come into the podcast and doing things, like they don't get it, but yeah, like, and that's why there's always that beer clinking afterwards, like,
because it's taking a sip and
because you're always cheering
people together. Yeah. And it's a good thing you mentioned that, actually, because I think one way to combat, like the one issue that was mentioned was, well, there's all these new, you know, detailers coming up and stuff like that. And a lot of people see them as competition, but I always found it was best to, like, there's millions of cars out there, especially he's in California. I don't know what city he's in, but there's millions of cars there. You know what I mean? And there's millions of other things also that need cleaning too. Right. So like sometimes talking with, you know, these people that are competitors and, you know, like work swapping or finding things that is working for them. And then you guys share secrets and stuff. Sometimes that stuff can really help. And so that's where community is really good at bringing people together for business as well.
Yeah. So when I looked at his website, that was the first thing I did. This would be the info to people. And I think maybe since last time we talked about SEO and websites and that, you know, I looked at his website and I went, wow, there's a lot going on. Mm-hmm. I was a little bit confused at what it looks good, right? Yeah. Like it's laid out great. It's got photos. It's got plenty. It should have. He really shouldn't be having to spend $6,000 because the amount of words and the amount of writing that's put in, the SEO should be
presence in Google.
He should. Yeah. I mean, he's got so many things written down, and this is where I come from the other side and go, I get it. The SEO wants to be that, and you need that. I look at it and I go, this is so hard for me to do business.
Yeah.
It's almost like we have this issue inside of the detailing world where we want to write things to other detailers. I wonder if if a lot of this was brought in from, you know, I'm not saying it cut and paste from the people that send them products, but I think a lot of it, the way it was written was just grabbed off of the way they write things. Well, that's not written. That's not written
for the soccer mom.
It's not written for the consumer who's buying your service. Like, are you trying to sell the product or are you trying to sell your service? I think I would very clarify that when he's right and take out a lot. I mean, there's so many words and then you got to call them. Like, less words, more photos, and buy now. Like, make it 100%. Easy. The website 100%. For me, you should have done all your marketing on social. You should have done all your marketing beforehand. When somebody comes to your website, this is the dilemma between SEO and websites for me, right? I understand the reason for words, blogs. I understand it. But then if I come to a page and I go to somebody's website, I'm there because I'm ready to grab maybe a little information, but I really just want to buy, right? Like,
100%.
Me and my girlfriend are searching for something right now. And we're going to websites. And what are we looking for? Something that intrigues us. We already have an idea of what we're wanting. And then how easy is it going to be for us to get it?
100%.
Right? I look at his page. I look at what's going on. And I go, okay, it's a lot of what I'm having to read a lot. It's taking me a long time. Okay. Call. What? No.
Yeah.
What if I have an idea of what I want? I've heard something about you or I've watched your Instagram. Right. I've seen something. I'm now on your page. He's creating such a blockade for me to just click a button and sign up and get I would alleviate the call and a book now. Like, book now. Stop 100%. Calling and book.
100%. And that's where I feel that the call side should always, that's your side afterwards, or it's, like still unsure, give us a call, something like that. But everything else, they're on a website. They went to a web page on purpose because they want to do it online. They don't want, if they wanted to talk to you, most times these people get there from Google. They had the call option in Google. Most times, if you have a Google My Business page, they chose to go to your website. So don't direct them to the phone. And then you're probably not going to answer. But if they're online, they want instant, like, I want the information now. I want to make a decision now. And I think that I agree. I found the same thing busy. I didn't find a clear flow of like what they were doing. And you kind of have to guide a customer. Like, they don't know. You're right. Like they don't know. They don't come there being like, I mean, we get the occasional customer that asks us for like ceramic coating or something. Most time they come in solving a different problem. Like they're like, my car's not shiny anymore or something. They don't know the terms.
So in his defense, he is going after, I think, a different clientele. Right. I mean,
that might also be part of the problem.
And when that's where I was going to head, right? Like twofold parts of that, right? The E-word economy, right? He's going after a certain clientele that just might not be around as much as it used to be. True, right? Yeah. People just aren't spending the $4,000 like they used to.
Yeah.
The other thing is it's not just that he put, because he's luxury, but then when you click on his services, the very first thing that's listed is like a $50 or $60 basically express detail.
Yeah. Which doesn't reflect where they came from.
Yeah. So I that's the confusing part, right? Like I looked at the site and I was like, okay, it's luxury. He's talking about, corrections and, the pre-correction that's needed for a coating. And here's the coatings. And he lists all of the names of the coatings that he uses. And he's this authority of, he got certified by so-and-so, but apparently he's still struggling. So that's the interesting aspect too. Like you're going to put this other brand's name on your page and you're struggling. Maybe you need to make a choice to put your own information and maybe not pay the extra, absorbent rates that you are 100%. And all the extra works that's going into old technology of these coatings, and switch over to something that is a more user-friendly, easier application. And you just simply put a ceramic coating on instead of putting so-and-so's name on your page. And then there's one where he's talking about, he puts on so-and-so's tire shine. The end consumer doesn't give a fuck what brand of tire shine you use. Doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah, they really don't.
Really odd that he's luxury, but he's listing all these brands that he uses. Like, I don't know the last time I went to a luxury place and they listed all the brands that they like.
Yeah.
Well, no.
Yeah, like I think it's one of those things where information overload and the wrong kind of information. And like, for all we know, his end consumer that he's going after now might not even like those brands, or maybe heard something bad about it. So it could actually be doing him a disservice. I think you're absolutely right. It's just list your information that we, use a variety of products, or we use this and that. And then that becomes part of your discussion with them. Like, we use the best products in the industry, leading products, and leave it at that, because that's all they want to know. Oh, you use the best shit? Perfect. You know what I mean? Like, I have no idea what processor's in my phone. No clue. When I bought the phone, it was like, this is how fast it is, that you can run all your apps, you can do all that shit. Beautiful. That's all I gave a shit. Yeah. I don't care if it's got the IBM Samsung Penthouse 4 processor. I don't give a shit. You know what I mean? It means nothing to me.
And even if I did, I didn't know what it means. I didn't know anything about that. I'm like,
what does that translate into? And that's where the whole thing with Apple. They weren't the first ones to make the MP3 player, but they just advertised it right. I wasn't going MP3, but I was going to go that. We say this too on our side, is we're like, make it as easy as possible for somebody to do business with you. The easiest phone to do business with is Apple. You get it, and within a few seconds, you got it turned on, and you put in your Apple ID, and bada bing, bada boom, and you're making phone calls. Everything's up and running. Yeah. And
like,
by making that easy.
Sometimes we just make things so difficult to do business, and we list out all this and so we use, and no, here's my service. Buy now.
Yeah, exactly. And then
put in some social proof. So-and-so loves us. Put in some quotes. That's a great thing. And social proof is always great, but company proof, that doesn't,
It doesn't mean anything. You're right. Like, you're far better off saying, you know, Tony from Westminster Avenue loves his new coating. That's going to say a lot more than, you know, certified by such and such.
And let me ask you, would you trust somebody that's building his own brand or somebody that's trying to build somebody else's brand, right? Like,
yeah, 100%. I would trust the guy that's pushing his own company forward.
Yeah.
And he's telling me about his company also, because I didn't go there to learn about the other company. I went there to learn about your company. And now you're telling me about this other stuff. It's kind of just redirecting their focus.
And that's what, and when you talk to designers, that's the number one thing they say. Don't ever get somebody to leave your site. But you start listing these other companies, if I don't know anything about them, then
now you're off researching.
Researching them. Like,
you're in a rabbit hole. Next thing you know, you're watching the news about the war.
Bingo. And then I just go back to searching for detailers and, you know, whatever area, and maybe somebody else pops up and I just go start looking for them. Like, you know, I would say that you definitely get away from those coating companies that want you to do that.
I've talked to some guys that are doing, like, through OrbisX, some guys that are doing, you know, 7 figures, like, easily. One guy's even doing that almost every month. Like, it's just phenomenal. And the guy's website, by website standards, is garbage. Okay. But the simplicity of it is just phenomenal. He's basically got the OrbisX booking form, and then he's got a little blurb about himself, why he started the company, and some stuff from customers, you know, like reviews, things like that. He's posted some letters, stuff like that. He doesn't mention the products he uses. He mentions the service that he does, and then he's basically got the booking form, right? That's pretty much the extent of this guy's website, and he's just crushing it. And it's not like, oh, well, most of it's word of mouth or something. No, he does get that, of course, but a lot of it, he said, is leads that are coming directly through the website. Okay, people go and they book there, and it's because there's no barrier. They go there, and the first thing they're doing, it's the reason the OrbisX form is one page. There's no like click next or, you know, add to cart. You wait for it to spinny wheel and then it loads to the cart. None of that shit. It's just check boxes, click, click, click. It looks like a game. The number one compliment, like, I get letters every day, emails people send me. They're like, man, my customers, they loved it. They're actually showing the software to their customers because it's so easy to do. Our bookings are up phenomenally, even during a blockade that we had. You know what I mean? Like, they shouldn't have been, but they are, because there's no barrier. There's no, you know, you have to read all these different things first. And I see people, they post, you know, lengthy descriptions of each service. You know, it includes the following, you know, we wash every lug nut, we this and that. The customer doesn't give a shit. Like, I don't even separate rims and tires. I call them wheels because that's what the customer calls them. And you don't believe me? Wait till one of them falls off his car. He's going to tell you my wheel fell off. He's not going to say, oh, my lug nut had a malfunction and my rim dislocated from the vehicle. No, he's just going to say, my fucking wheel is gone. Like, just say, clean your wheels, leave it at that. And just, so keep things simple. Most of our products services that we sell, they're very streamlined. 1 sentence, 2 sentences, that's it. And it's just everything that is included. Full exterior, full interior, plus shampoo, whatever. Use the keywords like that they're looking for, like stain removal, stuff like that. But you don't have to get into the, you know, like, oh, we get down in there with, you know, the drill brush and this. It just simplify it, and you're going to have a lot more success. So I found the same thing, very busy. Yeah.
So we both have a partner named Nick. And my Nick,
and they're both very friendly.
my Nick, he says it's something I believe too. I mean, it's the way I built car wash packages and the way I've tried to build packages: good, better, and best.
Yeah.
You go to his site or you go to a lot of these people's sites, like, there's got so much going on.
Yeah,
so much. True. Like,
I'm glad you said the good, better, best too. Avoid using the word basic. Basic wash. Basic never sounds good. Basic sounds like it's stripped down to literally just nothing, you know? So anyway, carry on. I think it's key to like come up with creative names if you want. You know, you can name them after trees, you know, and be like the oak package, the maple package, whatever. Like, you know, get creative with it, whatever you want to do. But the good ones obviously are, you know, like platinum and this and that. But try and avoid, like, you know, the basic, the bronze. Even express is okay. You know, like what we do is we don't have an express. We have what we call a mini detail. So we just call it a mini detail. So it's a detail, but just minified, you know, and then we've had really good responses from that. And it's been great. Usually we throw that in for free. If someone comes for like a windshield, you know, replacement, be like, oh, and you get a free mini detail. Oh, wow. you know the only word they hung on to in that sentence? Detail and free. That's it. Those are the words. It wasn't the mini part. But if I was like, yeah, and you got a basic wash, like right away, I'm like, oh fuck, this is gonna be like, it's not even gonna put soap on the car. It's just we just blast it with the hose. It's fine. But
but so at least condense. Yeah, good, better, best. 1, 2, or 3 options. Make it very easy for people to understand. Condense everything down. Progress them through the sale as fast as you can.
Yeah, and then put your phone number still, obviously, but don't force that as the option. If they're on the website, try and do it online. Websites are the most inexpensive real estate you'll ever buy, like 100%. And even if you had to hire an agency, which I recommend, I know you can do a lot of stuff yourself, DIY, but trust me, the results show because you're not going to have that graphic eye most times. Like most people, you can functionally put it together. It's the flow of the information, that kind of stuff the designer is going to know about.
And here's what's interesting too. I'm glad you brought that up. When I looked at his designer, he had a designer. Somebody had built the website for him. Yeah. One reason we've gone, Chris. One reason we've liked Chris is he's from our industry.
Yeah.
Right. So at least he has an idea of the way things maybe should be kind of organized, should be set up.
Because he's got experience with the end user, the customer.
Yeah, because he's in our industry. Like that's one part that guys, I don't think really understand the puzzle pieces. Like when you're working with companies, whether that's for your ceramic coating, for your customer service, retention stuff, for your websites, for your whatever it is, whatever that you need in your business, the more you can use people that are inside of the industry, it just streamlines things a lot better, right? Like 100%. If you didn't have a shop, you wouldn't know how to speak a lot of the lingo or understand the processes, or like you would have to say what other people are saying. Well, I have my background in this other, and I've done all this
different industry, and like
but I'm bringing it to our industry, and you're like, great, that's wonderful thing. That's great that you've done that. But having somebody that's in the industry,
100%
helps further the process. Like, and that's what we've appreciated about him is that he kind of has this idea of knows what it takes inside the industry versus just an agency that builds websites,
for anybody. Yeah.
For anybody.
Like building websites is one thing, but building websites that convert for detailers is different. And so, like I've heard some people, say like, oh, well, agencies are expensive, or, when I've recommended Chris before, they've been like, oh, well, like, geez, what's his pricing like? It'll be the first question. And I'm like, worth it. That's the response. Worth it. Doesn't matter what the fuck it is. It's going to generate the results you need to keep making money, man. Like it's, and so the reality is that you're not just paying for the product. You're not paying for just it's just the code or whatever goes into the website. You're actually paying for the experience behind it that helps make that product. Right. And so it's going to be a lot different than a generic web agency. 100%.
All right. So the other thing that I wish he was on, I would have asked him this because I didn't go dig through his social enough.
Okay. Yeah.
I would have really liked for him to explain how much time he spends looking at what other people are doing in his area, because I think his comment was that people in his area are busy.
Yeah.
But he's not.
Yeah, he did say there was another shop that doesn't even advertise. They're not spending the $6,000 a month, and he's slammed. And he was like, I don't know how to get
Bingo. Like there's this weird dichotomy inside of detailers that, because I think we hate it when other people copy our stuff, we can never then go over to other people and find out what's making them successful. And I should never copy, but how do I see if somebody's having success doing something and work it into my brand of how we have success? Is this guy that's having such great success? What's he doing on social media? What is he doing for stories, or what is he doing for reels?
The cool thing is you can do all that research for free. Like you can, in your evenings, when you're done work, you can spend, 15, 20 minutes.
Come on, Shawn. If he didn't fill out the fucking form, is he going to spend 5 minutes at home at night?
But he should. It should be mandatory, man.
It's the other part. How much work, and that was going to be how much work are you doing on social? Like looking at what some other people are doing, and don't copy. We don't like copies, but can you? I mean, can you
replicate it with your own flair, though? For sure, and you should with your own flair, because you need to be the voice and the blood for your business. Like you are the engine for that whole thing, and so you're just taking gasoline from different places and pumping it into your engine. And I think that it is okay to copy in a way that it's not like disrespectful. Like if you literally go to the guy's webpage and like copy paste his text, you've just made an enemy for sure. But you know what? Take $100, take the guy out for like a steak dinner or something, no joke, and sit down and just be like, listen, man, I just need 30 minutes of your time. You know what I mean? And then I just want to pick your brain and stuff. He might be up for it, and you might find out that maybe there's some areas that he wants to streamline. Maybe he's so busy, what he's doing is working, but he can't handle the overflow. And he might be like, well, shit, maybe you could help me, figure out how to streamline things. Because this guy has his operation really streamlined. He's turning out jobs, high quality jobs, very fast. That's one thing he made sure that I knew. He was like, we're putting out quality work and we're doing it quickly. And we're using, like a decent process to get that all done. Well, you might find out that this other guy that's slammed, that's something he needs help with. So there's a good chance he could copy some stuff from you as well. So it's mutually beneficial, but definitely take a look at who's in your neighborhood, like who's successful. Like that's what you got to look at. Who's crushing it in your local area. Don't focus on the guy halfway across the country, because his situation is going to be different. Like the challenges I have to deal with at my shop are not the same as a guy in like Florida. They're just not, you know what I mean? Like we've got in terrible weather to deal with most times. We've got a system here, for example, where, staff sometimes have a choice. They're like, I could just go on unemployment for the whole winter and the government's going to take care of me because it's winter. Maybe the guy decides he doesn't want to pay rent. We have a thing here in the province we're in. It's illegal to evict somebody during winter because they could die. So that happens. A lot of these people that work, these kind of jobs where they can just breeze in, breeze out. There's no huge, college degree required or something like that. They work places like this, save up some money, and then they just move somewhere, don't pay for the winter. These things happen. So my point is the challenges we have to deal with staffing and stuff are going to be different than what he has to deal with in California. So whatever city he's in, look at that radius around you, focus on the social, other people's websites. Try being a customer too, maybe. Like you don't have to follow through with it if you don't want, but go to another guy's website.
You've been big on that. Yeah, you've said that before. Yeah.
Huge. We do it all the time. And sometimes we just call around places. And so Joe, he just finished last week. He called around 27 different places in Ottawa. Some of them weren't even in our industry, but it was just see how many times it rings before they answer the phone. See who answers the phone, male or female. Okay. See how they answer the phone, like, hi, thanks for calling so-and-so or something. See how you feel afterwards. And we did this poll, and we do it often to see, like, are people responding better to, females? Like if we notice there's a huge shift, a lot of the successful companies, they're hiring females at the front desk. Well, then guess what? I want a female at the front desk. If we're finding that, there's a shift and there's more like, men taking those positions, well, fuck, I'm going to hire another Joe. Like it's, you know what I mean? Like it's, do this kind of research. I know he didn't fill out the form. It's a shame. This could have really helped him.
It's a shame. Yeah.
The Q&A. Because like, fuck, man, we got years of experience here.
And that's the big, I think that's a massive lesson that if people will understand what you just said, kind of mixing into what I said, and we'll put it back together. Like copying is bad. You don't take their photo. You don't take their content. You don't do that.
Exactly.
But you understand the way they're working and you adapt it in, right? Like you said,
yes,
they have a female up front. Okay. I don't want to take that female. I don't want to take that, like, but I'm going to take maybe they're having success.
Yeah.
There you go. The concept, like, what is it that another company is doing that might be working that maybe I could adapt into my business?
100%.
Have they switched away from these big long-term codings and moved to something like hyperClean, Uno, Dos, or Trace, a 1, 2, or 3 year, right? Like, is that in a much more better?
That's so easy to explain to somebody. You know what I mean? and you don't even have to speak Spanish and you get it. You know what I mean? Like,
right. Or here's the thing that I've told some as we've gotten in, as you and I've talked, right, as we said, there's more and more people getting into distribution with this, then trying to work with them on how to put out a video or a content around now moving from a service to now you're selling a product, right? Can you take a video and have this big overarching swipe of everything and it's got a lot of dead space, right? If I looked at his videos, which I did, a lot of dead time and a lot of explaining of, okay, we do this. Now we do this. Now it's very, I don't know that word. I don't think, is analytical, is that the right word, or just lytical? Like it's where it's going through the process of it, right? Like he's talking to another detailer.
Yes.
But there's no,
that's a training video for
bingo. There's no pomp, right? Like as I worked with distributors selling our product and they show the product and they just kind of like swipe and move their camera over. Like, no, there's no pomp. Like if you watch a commercial, did anybody watch Super Bowl commercials? Right? Like oh, bingo. I watch stuff and then I figure out how can I adapt that into my business? Well, that means I don't do this boring long video. It means I chop it into smaller segments and I tell a story about it to help sell it instead of being so boom, 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 right? Like
exactly
express yourself, tell a story, cut things out. Don't have these long, dull periods. Go to the main points of what you want to do, make it quick, have a transition. Like these are all things you learn from watching the way other people do videos, not
and
copying.
Seeing what appeals to you and seeing, yes.
There you go. Like, what 100%. Is it in the video that they're doing? Is it a camera angle? Is it a style? Like, what is it that people are doing? And then how do I adapt it? And then the hard part though, like you mentioned, if I can't fill out a fucking form, if I can't sit down for 10 minutes at night, you got to show up. You got to put in the work. Hours.
Yeah.
Hours a night. Not unpaid, 10 minutes.
Unpaid hours.
And that's not this week.
Yeah.
You know how long it's taken me to learn how to record a video and edit a video?
Yeah.
Hours for years. Just got a little better. And then I might found this new app that got, and then I could do this and I could put out this many. And now we're doing this and we're making higher quality. And I put in transit like hours, years. It takes a long time.
Well, even me, so I'm new to like putting out a podcast, and as it's been shown by my technical difficulties. But what's the number one thing I always ask you, like before and after? I'm always like, okay, that one was better. Like, what can we do for structure wise next time? Make it better. And you've been teaching me a lot of like the structure of a podcast and helping guide through it. And like, I'm not getting paid for this. And I don't think, are you getting paid for that? I don't think either of us are getting. And so like, but here we are putting in this time because we're hoping to change some lives, do something fun, but also to put our products out there in the marketplace for people too, because it's going to help people. So we are fulfilling all three of those things. Like I'm not going to beat around the bush for sure. Like my goal, I'm going to get more subscribers. I'm also going to get, the opportunity to help people.
Customer retention also.
Yeah, 100%. So that people, they're like, oh, this is why I should stick around. Like these guys are dropping gems every week. They're helping my business because I'm not so much interested in the single transaction. I'm more interested in building this community. My pink elephant's almost done here.
I'm getting close myself.
Yeah, but good news is I don't have to pick up the kids today, so we're good. Just a little bit of coding.
I've got a rover I got to get back to working on. So
shit,
that paint correction might get a little sloppy around that second side if I go crack open another one. But
you're not doing mine, so it's okay. That's fine. Oh man, but yeah, I think we touched on a lot of good things. One of the most important ones is I think do the research, and if given the opportunity, jump on it to learn from others. I think that would be a good way we could sum this all up, is that learn from others either by working with them or just by watching them from the sidelines. I think that watching things as they unfold, is a good way to kind of restore some control in your life and feel more in control of your business. And you can literally control the outcome most times if you can be part of manifesting your destiny rather than just kind of throwing your hands at, I'm trying everything they told me to try. And it's like, well, yeah, but you're not trying what's working, because you can spend $6,000, but you spending $6,000 and me spending $6,000, it's going to have very different results because I'm going to come at it from a different approach where I'm looking at those around me and trying to integrate that into my campaigns.
And I think it'd be interesting to toss back and forth, whether it's now or later, is should that $6,000 be spent on bringing in a videographer?
100%.
Should it be spent on people taking photos? Should it be spent on that instead of
evidently asset generation is huge.
Yeah. If you keep wasting $6,000 a month, come on, let's make a change. Let's do something. Like maybe you got to switch it away from SEO or Facebook marketing or whatever it is he's doing. And you got to change it up. Like you can't keep doing that over and over. You got to think everything's changed. So much has changed.
Oh yeah. And everything I think has to have a time limit of sorts when it comes to campaigns. Like you can't be like, okay, we're spending $6,000 a month and we're doing that forever. That's the thing. No, it's that we're going to run one campaign with a very particular promo, run that for a month. And then that's what you do. To be honest, most of our promos at our shop are 5 to 7 days maximum. That's what we do. And we just pump them hard and we go after a very specific market. We boost up our ad spend on it. And then we just kind of coast for the next like 2-3 weeks. And then we'll do another injection, another promo, because we get so much traction from that little burst that we need to now not take in more clients and kind of half-ass those leads. We really nurture the leads. So our closing ratio is really high because we do a quick burst, bring in a ton of clients or requests, and then we nurture the shit out of those leads. And we literally, we follow up by everything. I had one guy, he wasn't sure if he should be collecting emails. I mentioned this in the chat with you. And I was like, absolutely. You can't just rely on SMS. First off, the guy might give you the wrong number by mistake. He might be dyslexic. You know what I mean? Now you have no way to contact him. So that's happened to us. But also it might be a landline. Maybe he just doesn't check his text that often. Who knows? Collect the SMS, collect the email, and hit him up on both. Until he tells you, please stop messaging me, hit him up on both. Like, what have you done to him? You sent him an electronic piece of data. You didn't you didn't slash his tires or something. Like, what would he get so upset about? It's just an email. So I think that collecting information, nurture those leads, and hammer them hard. Like when you get a lead, treat that like that's the last lead you're ever going to get. And you know what I mean? Work that lead until they say yes. Absolutely. Like there's been times I was working with Jordan Stupar. He has an academy. He teaches people like marketing, sales advice, things like that. And I was working with him and he told me, he used to work for Grant Cardone in his office. He told me one time he called a lead something like 168 times in 72 hours, something like that, to get a hold of the guy. And then finally in the end, you know what did it? He sent the guy a message, an email, and he tried SMS, kept getting blocked, everything. Anyway, he sent him an email and it was a skeleton sitting on a bench like this. And he was like, hey, Brad, it's like, this is me waiting for you to close that deal. That was it. And then the guy called him back. He's like, man, that was hilarious. He's like, I've been dodging your calls. He's like, that shit was funny. But he just didn't give up. The tenacity to just like go at it, like that's what you need. And so fill out the form. We'll definitely have you back if you want to join in Q&A. And then,
the other people can fill out the form.
Yeah. Or someone else. If someone else, I did post it in the group. I posted the form. So if someone wants to fill it out, tell us a bit about your business. We can chop it up live, help you solve some problems in your business.
Bingo.
And, give you some answers. We've got great feedback, but it's easier when we're getting some specific questions or information. Other than that, we're just guessing. So,
well, other than that, it's just us like shooting down things that we see, and that's not
exactly.
it sometimes comes across the wrong way, and I don't mean it that way. It's just that's the easiest thing to do is look at somebody's thing and start chopping it up.
Yeah.
It would be better to
some good things too, but
it would have been better. Like I said, I would have liked to have asked him some questions to understand why. Otherwise, I'm just from the bleachers like shooting out stuff, but
yeah. It's true.
Bird's eye view. I thought it was good. So
yeah, absolutely. So here's the community.
Yeah, it's the community, man.
All right. So we'll see you next week. Same time,
Sounds
same place.
Good, bro.
All right, man. Talk soon. Thanks, Marty.